Welcome to Deep Thought. What good is having a high IQ if you are struggling in life? I want y'all to think about this because you get some people, they tell you how smart they are. Well, I'm smart. This is my IQ score because they still got IQ tests online and stuff like that. And you got whole groups of people thinking, well, we're smarter than those people and everything. And I'm like, what good is having a high IQ, but you're not doing well in life? I remember I saw this news clip about this guy, and he had an astronomical high IQ, yet he was working as a janitor. I'm like, well, whoa, come on now. Nothing against janitors, but you don't make the connection between a janitor and a person with a high IQ. Like, what good is it if you're struggling in life? What good is a high IQ, but you have an ordinary job? You're not in a profession you want to be in. What good is a high IQ if you're not having the relationships you want to have? Like, what good is it? Seriously, I ain't saying, like, if you got a high IQ, hey, that's great, but, as I'm going to get into later this week, you need to be making it in life. But there's a lot of people, I actually know some, astronomical high IQ, but really their lives are just jacked up. They can score well on those tests and everything, and very book smart, but then you find out life is greater than that. Seriously, life is greater than that. Great life, you gotta have more to get through life. Because, okay, like you got a lot of people, they IQ, so okay, they do well in school. But then when they get out, like I know, okay, one young lady, her IQ was astronomical. Her IQ was astronomical. I mean, it was up there. I was like, man. But with her score, and this was as a child, but then just had trouble with a lot of stuff in her personal life. I was like, oh. Then I knew another young lady. I remember, I knew her at American University. And I remember she sat down. Now, Rom trying to flirt. Because she looked good in that red dress. I was like, yeah. She up there showing me her report card, all these A's and stuff. I was like, okay. And she eventually got a job, working with this, I think it was, I don't know, an accounting firm, like real big one down in the DC area. And I remember seeing her getting off, have her work clothes on, say, hey, how things going for you? Not well at all. She ended up getting into some other stuff. She ended up getting into some totally other stuff, which is good. It was like, okay, you got those high scores. I mean, and it's like something I've heard from some law students. Like it's saying they said A students, become professors, B students become judges, C students make all the money. I was like, hold up, shouldn't it be the A students making all the money? Seriously, I want y'all to think about that. Okay, you got one, but you how much money you making? What are you doing? Are you living a great life? You get a lot of people, they say, well, that's a score. Okay, you getting paid for that score. Are you getting paid for it? I remember when I was working retail, I had 1,000 jobs, and I remember I had one guy, he was a literal rocket scientist. And he's doing something, he's doing all this extra stuff with something. I said, dude, I asked you just to put it up. You didn't have to do all this extra stuff. You should have been able to put it up because he was taking forever trying to change stuff around. I was like, dude, we got a ton of stuff to do. Put it up the way I taught you. It would have took you about a good 10 minutes. He's spending 30 minutes on something, trying to do all this stuff and trying to talk about it. It's like, dude, that's no good here. We had another woman. She was a professor. She was just lousy. And I'm like, you a professor? And this is what you're giving us? You try and do all this extra stuff you don't have to do? And her stuff was just pitiful. But you see that a lot. See, and look, let me be clear. Yeah, it's good if you have a high IQ, but can you translate that to your life? I want y'all to think about that. I want you to think about what can you translate that to your life? You know, you get some people, they got, they high IQs, but they don't know how to relate to someone else. So you got somebody who might be it was like somebody said about, I read somewhere, it was actually in a metaphysical book. You got like a billionaire or something, got all this money, but they got health issues and everything, and they couldn't really enjoy sex well. Because they had so many health issues despite all their money. They spending all their money there. Yet you got a common laborer who can enjoy sex. A common laborer. Like, what good is it if you can't live the life that you want to live? Now, let me be clear. This is not saying you shouldn't have one, but it got to be more. You got to be more, and you can't use it to lord over people. You can't. Like, you got like some professionals. Even now, you got some professionals. Let me use that relationship example. You got some professionals having trouble getting the right mate, yet you get somebody who might be on the spectrum working on some low job. They happy as heck with some person. Seriously. You shouldn't be struggling. Because it takes more. It takes more than some score on a random test. Because really, well, we can get into a lot of those tests are no good. They don't test like human situations that happen. They don't test those things. All they testing is can you recognize patterns? Can you do well on that test? What good is it? Shoot, I mean, they be having those. I've heard there's some tests they have for the NFL or something. It's like, okay. But the players who do well, who can win games, they probably don't do well on those tests. Or in the sports or something. It's like, man, okay. What good is it? Because, life, I'm going to tell you what, here's a real issue with tests. They can give you all the situations, they can do whatever. Life, one thing going through life doesn't accommodate you that way. It really doesn't. That's one thing I've seen in life. Life doesn't accommodate you the way, according to like some tests you've taken, got into some grades you got in school or something like that. Life will hit you with something that wasn't covered. Because you got so many situations. Even in one situation could go about 100 different ways. It can hit you with something that you ain't even thinking about. So, I mean, that's the thing. If you have one, great. But then if you have a high IQ, great. I'm impressed. But then you got to get through the rest of life. And I know some people who've done that. They had a high IQ and, get a high paying job at the very least, and then doing well in their lives. I've known them. That's when it works. If it helps you in your profession and get that job, and then you can have other parts of your life going well, okay, that's great. But let's be real. A lot of people are struggling. But you test them and it's like, oh, what was the score here? So anyway, I want y'all to think about that, okay? This ain't nothing against people who have like high IQs or anything, but it's something to think about. If you got that high IQ, you should be smart enough to like really get through life. But, I'll get more into that in the next one, all right? The next couple. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace and blessings.